For you? And I told her.
Y'all here? All right. We're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. I don't think we're going through. Okay. First up tonight is the approval of the agenda. There's no need for any adjustments. Let's get a motion for approval.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
A second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Next up, we have approval of the minutes from July 15th. There are no needs for amendments to those minutes. I'll take a motion for approval. And second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Moving on down to administrative reports. School's coming back into session. Buses will be moving. Please be wary on the roads when you're heading to work. Kids are out. It's a good time. I know Dr. Ayers is excited. A lot of people are excited. They just had the back to school bag. And from all accounts, it's been a great success. So congratulate her on that. And that's all I have to look into. Any other commissioner reports? If not, we move on to any county manager report.
Good evening. Just want to bring you up to speed on a couple projects. One of the Center for Domestic Peace, I think I'd mentioned last time, we're in a process where we're holding on certain items that have been ordered. We would like to go ahead and send a letter to R.E. Crawford, getting them on notice that we will be seeking actual and liquidated damages both. Actual damages would be the furniture and things like that would be, asking for. So just want to go ahead and give them a letter. It's already in the contract, so it's not like they already know what's going on, but want to go ahead and formally do that. And I'm just going to let y'all know we're going to be proceeding with that. The other one is the fairground project. We did complete the footers, so the building should be going up within the next couple of weeks. So you're going to be seeing some things happening more than just on the ground down there. The other project is we did hire a library consultant, Hall and White Library Consultants out of China Grove, North Carolina. They come very highly recommended. They've got a lot of different experience with transitional processes, strategic planning, and all the different things that for library transitions. So have put them on a retainer at this point and are working through a process to identify, what's needed in the next 6 months, the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and then we'll kind of bring that back to you at a later date. But we're working through that process now. So that's all I have for tonight.
I have one question, Mr. Chair. On the fairgrounds, remind me, did we receive a grant for the water?
For what now? Excuse me.
For the water down there?
At the fairground?
Fairgrounds, yeah.
We're working with Eastern Marion Indian on a grant for ARC for $600,000, and then we've allocated up to $1 million as a match, and then they are allocating a certain amount also. So it's a combination partnership between ARC, ABCII, and Jackson County.
And we'll bring up something that you didn't. The project for the middle school, where are we at on that? You have an update on that?
Yeah. So the topo has been done, topographical survey. We're placing the building now, so that's in the architectural and the civil engineer group. So they're working on that. Once that has been identified, there'll be the soil borings will have to go out, and then we'll do geotech to go through that process. That's not going to happen before we have to close on the land. The land will close starting. Our due diligence is over the 15th of August, so we've got till the 15th of September to close. So that probably will be closing before the geotech is completed. But we've had the team on site, and I think everything seems to be good to go.
Any additional questions? Quick reminder, in our last meeting, we went through some rules regarding public comment, and for our initial run through of public comment, we're going to limit that to 45 minutes, and then we'll table public comment so that we can get our other business accomplished, and then we'll come back. So if there is a little bit of a confusion there, just so everyone knows, if we table it at 45 minutes, we will be coming back. So everyone will get to speak. First up tonight is Sarah Wheeler.
Hi, good evening. Over the last 25 years of my life, I have done a variety of things. I am a classic do not judge the book by its cover. Everything from heirloom sewing, which might be my cover, to sawmilling, to renovations, to stained glass, woodworking, hand-done dovetails, all the things. I've done a variety of stuff, and while I am basically never the sharpest tool in the shed, I am also basically never the dullest. And the more I have learned in all these realms is one of the life lessons that I've learned is the more you know, the more you realize how little you know. All right? The more you do, the more you realize how much more there is to learn. I have been trying to sew a dress for at least 20 years, and I still have a ton to learn. The more I learn, the more I realize how little I know. And that holds true for anything wholesome in life. Point being with this library, it takes a master's degree. I had no idea. I have been talking to the staff whom I have had in my life for some odd years, and takes a master's degree. And I mean, I didn't think that they were not competent, but I didn't realize they needed a master's degree and all these reports and all these things and everything else to support the community. We have an amazing library with a ton of events. I mean, I learned just today that they do yoga for kids. We have a library that does yoga for kids, guys. So that's one of the lessons. The other thing is that if it isn't broke, don't fix it. And our library is amazing. One point I would like to bring up that stands out like a sore thumb is that the amazing staff of the library does not earn a living wage. So if we could change our attention from the books that it's going to get our city sued to giving a living wage for the folks that have supported our community so much, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Nara Ain.
Hello, my name is Nara Ani. I've lived in Silva for 3 years, just this past month actually. And I and my 2 younger children moved here primarily to be nearer to my parents, who are retired small business owners in Jackson County. One consideration when we moved is the library. And it was one of the first places we looked at when we arrived here. And as a homeschooling former military family, I have seen a lot of libraries. And ours here is one of the best that we've been to. Another thing about me is that I don't have a party affiliation, a political party affiliation. And that's where my question comes in. Because in my younger days, I studied political science, and I know that one of the primary characteristics of human beings is that they're very inclined to us versus them thinking. And right now in particular, politics is really divided. And you're all elected. You're already here. You're in those seats, and you've been given these positions to make decisions for the best of all of Jackson County. And my question that I want you to ask yourselves and maybe have some introspection on, and if you're inclined to meditate on it, is are you making this decision about this library and any point for that matter, for the best of all of Jackson County? Are you considering everyone? And are you doing it as a free-thinking human being, or are you falling back and maybe hiding behind political ideology or agendas? Because the current two-party system has failed us. And many of our founding fathers at the beginning warned us that it wasn't the best route to go, and there's flaws in it. So I just wanted to come up and ask you to just make sure that you're doing the decisions that you're making as best policy for Jackson County and not partisan politics, if that makes sense. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me and letting me talk.
Next, we have Michelle Arenas. Sorry if I messed up your airlines.
Good evening. So, I want to talk a little bit about the justification or lack of and the fiscal issues behind this decision. I'm puzzled by the lack of methodology and the justification behind the vote withdrawal. There was no problem statement on why we needed to leave FRL. I saw no sustained issues. The book that was protested was addressed through a documented process that's been in place for quite some time. But the question is, where do we go from here? What's a transition plan? I just heard that you've hired a consultant, but honestly, guys, you should have looked into it before making the decision. Has anybody done an AOA and analysis of alternatives to identify solutions? Where are the fiscal resources coming from to replace the lost funds and services that were afforded under the FRL umbrella? Are you going to raise property taxes again? We just had an increase. I'm really flattered that Jackson County thinks my home is worth so much, but I assure you it's not. But these are real questions. I've attended or reviewed online recent meetings during which a lot of very talented citizens have repeatedly offered assistance in analysis and planning. I urge you to take us up on these offers in addition to whatever work this consultant's going to be providing. You all work on county matters part time, so yeah, you need the help. And as someone who has a bit of experience in executing large programs, sometimes the solution, when you've analyzed everything, is to keep what you already have. So I'm asking three things. One, let us, the citizens of Jackson County, help you chart this course. Two, keep an open mind that the solution may be to reverse this decision. Three, keep us, the citizens of Jackson County, informed about this transition. You've not been very transparent about this very large decision that impacts the quality of life and the wallets of your constituents. And that really needs to change. Thank you.
Next, we have Susan Barcheski. Is that right? Hey. Thank you, Susan.
Good evening. Thank you for your time and attention tonight. I just want to give you all a few more facts about the Bible and Jackson County Library and the Fontana Regional Library System. Last month, I had a moment to go and check at the library, and on the shelves, there are 3 available Bibles on that shelf, or on various shelves. There's also in the Spanish section, there's 2 more Bibles. There's an audio version, which was checked out. It was a KJV version, and one large print, and there was even one in a Cherokee language. All of that is property of the Fontana Regional Library System, but it is at the courthouse building, and that's 8 in total. Library systems, the regional systems like ours, are traditional in rural areas because they expand access and resources to resources and information. In a time like now where I can tell AI to make anything look realistic, I can tell ChatGPT to make something up to make it make sense, which none of this is ChatGPT, FYI. I can Photoshop anything and put it on my phone and show it to you and tell you what it is and that it's real. In a time like now, disinforming people, misinforming people is too easy. And I see it as an abuse of power to take information from people and take access from people. And when you expand that search in the Fontana Regional Library System of Bibles, there are 9 more options. So if I want to see that audio version, I want to use that, and it's checked out at this library, it can come to me from the Franklin one or wherever they may have another one for me to use, and that's very helpful to a lot of us. Um, and in the young adult nonfiction section, I counted 44 books on Christian themes, the section that we're all very concerned about. I think it stands to reason. I counted them by hand. I wasn't able to get, the actual numbers. But I think it stands to reason that that number could easily double, and we could access more Christian themed books for those children by staying in the regional system. Personally, my side hustle, I do history tours. I offer history tours of Silva and in neighboring towns, and I depend on genealogy departments and local historians, and especially books. Books are my favorite because I can use them at home. It's so much easier for me to get a book delivered from Highlands, North Carolina, or Bryson City to this library, and for me to pick it up and take it home. Whereas with the change that y'all have voted on, I will not have that access. I will have to go to that library, those libraries, and spend time in that library section and procure and verify the information the hard way, and I won't be able to take those books home. And so it's an inconvenience, and it costs me gas money too. Thank you.
Next up, we have Luther Jones. Mr. Jones.
I'm an unaffiliated voter in Jackson County. The reason I'm unaffiliated is that I believe that the Democrats are a bit too free with my tax dollars. Republicans are very slow and backward on social issues. I grew up hearing that the Republican Party stood for fiscal responsibility and less government interference into the lives of the constituents. That is obviously not the case with this board, in that 4 members voted to waste taxpayer money and enforce their own biases by withdrawing from the Fontana Regional Library. The increase in the cost of running the library, with all probability, fewer services will cost each registered voter in the county a little less than $20 per year in tax monies, an unnecessary expenditure. Therefore, this is my pledge. Each time one of these board members that voted to leave the FRL runs for re-election, I will donate $20 to the Jackson County Democratic Party with the caveat that it must be used to support their opponent in the election. I will continue to do this with each of the 4 board members until they have been removed from office. I ask that all of the registered voters in Jackson County that agree that these board members should be removed do the same. Perhaps then we can have commissioners that truly represent the interests of the community as a whole, rather than their own personal ones, and can once again have balance and normalcy in our county government. Thank you.
Next up, we have Susan Danner. Susan Danner.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I appreciate it. This is my book. I can't read print anymore. It's an iPad app or any app that people can load onto most any device, and it's free to download. And the app is Libby, and this app comes to me and others through the Jackson County Public Library. You also can get magazines, a number of magazines. You can get newspapers. And this is a wonderful service that is currently available. And because I'm visually impaired, this is due to age-related macular degeneration, which is not an uncommon
eye problem for those of us who are older. This service is invaluable to me. On this device, it's possible for me to enlarge the print, to control the brightness, which makes reading possible when since I can no longer read print. Lost my place. I'm not here just for myself. I am here because there are others like me in the county, other visually impaired people, people who are unable to get out when weather events make roads impassable. If they have Wi-Fi, they can have books available to them like this. Also, this is a service for people who are no longer able to drive to the library, as well as the books being available. I have been told that this is a pretty expensive item for the library, that it comes from the Fontana system. Before my vision deteriorated, I was a volunteer at the library, and I was there weekly. And it's such a wonderful asset to our community, to our county. One last thing I feel I must say is when I was a volunteer at the library, I found Tracy Fitzmaurice to be a pleasant person, a good person, and I'm deeply, deeply sorry and saddened by the things that people have chosen to say to her and about her.
Thank you, Ms. Tanner.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Terry Cole Smith.
So it appears to me that the county commissioners will essentially have to do zero work in the process of disengaging Jackson County libraries from the FRL. Instead, the bulk of the work legally required will be done by current FRL Director Tracy Fitzmaurice and County Manager Kevin King. So Fitzmaurice will have the full-time job of librarian, the, in theory, part-time job of FRL Director, and the job of following all laws and statutes required to pull out of the FRL and to reconstitute the JCPLs as county libraries. Note that Fitzmaurice was just reconfirmed as FRL Director, which is required to be drawn from the current librarian pool, a job no other librarian in the system even wanted. She also has to prove that the remaining libraries in Macon and Swain can maintain the FRL as a two-county system. In addition, the new FRL board has created 6 new subcommittees, and Fitzmaurice is required to be on all of them. Note that 3 new board members, Smith, Richards, and Jennings, unilaterally changed the standard FRL ethics statement they signed without board discussion or vote, which is the only legal way to amend the ethics statement. Are they even legal members of the board capable of voting to create or be on these subcommittees? In addition to many overtime hours, Fitzmaurice lost the person most needed to help divest from the FRL, Financial Officer Lynn Cody, who recently resigned. I don't know his reasons, but I do know that he was harangued by new board members and an adversarial public, mostly GOP MAGA operative Keith Blaine, speaking this evening, with multiple specific legal, procedural, and financial questions. Like Fitzmaurice, Cody was facing a job well beyond the expected hours and salary he had contracted for, and one that, when completed, could very well result in the loss of his job. FRL's loss of their financial officer is a big blow to an organization that still is in place for a year, and whose bylaws and state laws legally require a financial officer. A newly constituted county library system will also be required to hire their own financial officer. Folks with credentials and desire to hold this appointment are few and far between. So, with 3 questionably legal FRL board members and no financial officer, I ask, what happens now? Thank you.
Kay Callahan?
Good evening. My name is Kay Callahan. I live in Sapphire and volunteer at the Cashier's Library. Just so you know, and this is not only my opinion, but I've talked to a lot of people that feel that the library and Cashier's is the hub of the community. It's where a lot of activities take place for adults, for children. It's where you can go to read newspapers, magazines. There are various classes there. We have a movie, which will go away with the demise of the regional system. Um, and I just think until you've thought through, it's like somebody said earlier, you hired a consultant. You should have hired a consultant to begin with to figure out, should we pull out of this or not? Do we know what the cost of the consultant is, by the way? And is it being added to the cost of pulling out of the library system? Will the public be invited to have discussions with this consultant? You know, what kind of input are we going to have? Or is it just going to be input from you all, commissioners only? And what kind of input will the current staff of the two libraries in Jackson County have? We have wonderful staff in Cashier's, and I'm sure you do in Silva as well. I've never been to the library in Silva. In case you haven't driven on 107 recently, the new section of 107 is really great. You get to the old section and you think you're driving on a corn cob. I am sure that part of whatever the new consultant comes up with there will be a staffing plan and so forth and so on. But one of the questions you have to consider is, will all the staff be let go and then have to reapply for new positions? Seems kind of a waste of tax money and time and effort and all that, but legally you may be required to do that. Thank you.
We'll do this one and then we'll table. I think we've hit that 45-minute mark. Pretty close. Mariana Coyle.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm a resident of Jackson County, retired school teacher, and a regular user of our library, which is a precious resource. And we know that this brings so many good things to our community, valuable things to our community. But the bottom line is, how much is this all going to cost us? Money that could be used on things that are so much more important and so much more needed by our community. So I want to ask you, commissioners, we heard tonight from Mr. King what the retainer will be, but no doubt there's going to be an hourly fee after that. How much have you budgeted to allow for that expense? Another question is a lawyer. The lawyer that used to represent the library has stepped down and recommended that you all get a multi-partner library. That's a great expense. So I ask you please to think about these things and consider the expense that this is going to cost when it really is unnecessary as we proceed through when started, it seems to be a huge expenditure which could be used for so many more necessary things. Thank you.
Sorry, I misspoke. I'm used to starting at 6. We started at 6:30. Beth Baxley?
I have a quick question. Since the county budget was approved before you began your withdrawal from the regional system, what funds are you going to use to pay the consultant? Where is that money coming from? Thank you.
Sarah Steiner?
Hi, thank you. My name is Sarah Steiner. I'm a librarian and Cullowhee resident. And I'm just curious if you have reviewed the extensive legal precedent that shows the First Amendment of the United States of America pertains to all books in the public library, including children's books. Thank you.
Alan Lomax?
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Alan Lomax. I'm a 22-year resident of Jackson County. Just have one question. I love our community room in the library. It's a facility that is used widely by the community in nonpartisan ways and provides tremendous amounts of literacy and information to our community residents. It does so in a very open and transparent way. I believe that transparency is a cornerstone of democracy. I have a question for you all. Do you believe that as well? And yet you've acted on the advice of an out-of-county resident who said to conduct these things behind closed doors. That's not particularly transparent. My question is, in conjunction to what happens to the community library, requests are already being turned down for activities well beyond the end of this fiscal year. It's an important facility to this community.
Terry Folger? Terry Folger?
Good evening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your efforts. I have lived here for 20 years. I'm a retired educator and I am an avid reader. And I also depend on the online services quite a bit since I live way up north. So we've heard a lot about who are we going to lose? What are we going to lose? But also, how are you going to figure out what to keep? What items, what services in the library you need, because this needs to be considered. And I'm sure the consultant will help you consider that and help all of us consider that. But what are we going to keep? What's important? We're going to prioritize all these things. I mean, it's a big consideration. Thank you again.
Ken Mason?
Hi, I'm Kim, another homeschooling military mom. I've seen libraries all over the world and truly never seen a system as good as this one. Unbelievable options. My question is, will the Jackson County Attorney have to draft new bylaws, policies, long-range plans, etc., and will they have time for this in addition to their regular job?
Laura Lawfer?
Hi, good evening, everybody. I live in Webster. I use the library very often. I love it. When folks come to visit, I say, come see my library. It's so beautiful. The views are gorgeous. And in 1988, when I graduated from Western, my husband and I got our marriage license there when it was a courthouse. So it's really very special. And my godson was married last year. Today's his anniversary on the steps. So it's a really special place for me in my heart. And I'm glad I got to come back. and pay taxes and buy a house here and take part in this beautiful county. And this just breaks my heart. It makes me really sad. That the feelings about certain people can make you make these decisions to take services away from people. And I just want to echo what other folks are saying. This is not done. Y'all still have time. And I hope that the consultant's charge is not how do we move forward with leaving FRL, but how can we consider staying? We still have that opportunity. And there's no shame in changing your mind and in figuring it out. I mean, that's what we want our elected officials to do, is to be thoughtful and listen to your constituents. And I know that you care about your communities, and I do think that there's a path forward, the middle way. So, and I also agree that let us participate, because we want everybody to be served by this library. So, thank you for your service.
Rebecca Herbers.
I have a short question. As a county-run library, would it qualify as a nonprofit?
Thank you. Walter Anderson.
Even though I've been a resident and library user for probably over 35 years in this county, the question is, have you contacted Balsam West to see if they are able or willing to handle the additional load, and at what cost?
Rebecca Adel.
Hi, I'm Becky Abel, a resident of Silva, District 2. I would like to know what items in current libraries will be retained by FRL.
Lauren Berg.
Hello again. I have another one of these questions to read out to you guys. It says all contracts will have to be reviewed. How many will need to be rewritten? What happens to these contracts? Or the contracts for services that are multi-year? Will they have to be renegotiated? Those are good questions. I feel that's somewhat rhetorical questions. I don't think you guys really had a plan going forward into this. And I just want to add that my friends asked me, like, what's going on in the mountains? People from down south or over in the Piedmont, and I just got to tell them the truth. There's a lot of headlines, punchlines. It's embarrassing. There's a lot of calls that have been made recently that people are talking about. It's making papers. What's going on in Jackson County, North Carolina? Public comments are talking about it. We're appointing locals. We're representing the wrong districts. We're not bothering with ethics. We're appointing people that just cross off ethics and kind of do their own thing. If any other group was doing this, we'd all raise hell about this. It's embarrassing. We can all do better. So what's next? What's going to happen next? Years ago, I was also in leadership roles. I learned a lot of hard lessons during that. What it is what I discovered. It's character and continually showing that one can make the right call and do the right thing. And sometimes that's admitting that you did wrong. That's all I have today. Thank you.
Whitney Freiling.
Hello, I'm Whitney Crowley. I'm a resident of Silva and a small business owner in Jackson County. As a dual taxpayer, I'd like to echo the concerns about fiscal responsibility and where the money to pay for the changes to the library agreement will come from. Specifically, have you considered what additional hardware and software purchases will need to be made to maintain the level of technology opportunities that people in our community currently rely upon? I too wonder where the money is coming from to pay the highly recommended library consultant. If this consultant is indeed highly competent, they will surely recommend no change to our library's current alliance with the Fontana Regional System, which perfectly serves the citizens of Jackson County. Thank you.
Keith Blaine.
I'm Keith Blaine. I live in Silva, so I'm here to basically debunk a lot of things that have already been made. I'm going to start with the last time a regional library was formed was 1964. So the trend is for these regional boards to basically dissolve because they are large enough to be standalone libraries, and I believe Jackson County is such. We have a budget of over $100 million. I think we've got people here that can fully man a board for policies and so forth. I was at the last Fontana Regional Library Board. It was stated by the finance officer they have in their checking account, one checking account, $2.5 million. That has been accumulating for 80 years. My question would be to the Fontana Regional Library Board, how much this is all an overpayment by the three counties. So do you even know how much you overpaid last year? My concern is you're not getting proper accounting of the finances of overpayment. As of June 30th, Jackson County government overpaid $166,000 to the FRL. That will go into that account, and it will continue rolling over. There could have been some checks written the last week, and it could come down. So how much of the $2.5 million is going to come back? That would be a big question for me. So one lady, I've got a whole list here. One lady said, well, the library members do not make a living wage. Well, the FRL is the one who decides how much they make. It's not you guys. So they decide. They will actually get a raise if they become a Jackson County employee. I would also like to say that one lady says you were given your position. You weren't given your position. You were elected by the citizens of Macon County. You were all of Jackson County.
Order, please.
So I'm going to ask for an extra minute because of all this ruckus here. So you were also accused of not thinking. They also do not know the book objection process. Most people don't even know what the process is. Most people don't even know there is a process. Over a year ago, it was stated at an FRL board meeting, if you objected to a book due to obscenity, the board could not make the decision. It had to be a lawsuit. So I would like for, so these are facts. Also stated at your joint meeting, one of you asked if we could have a community group to review the books, and the response was, well, the public is not trained to review the books. That was stated as fact. It was also said you were not transparent. You've had meeting after meeting after meeting about the library. So also, I would like to say the most popular book ever written is the Bible. So
everyone, please.
So we should.
Hang on. Let's give him 5 more seconds. Mr. Blaine, finish.
I got more I want to say too. Then.
So I've been over talked here constantly. So I think we should be removing some of the people from the meeting when they start over talking. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving on. Kim Mitchell.
Yeah, he does. He makes it up as he goes.
2 more. Let's just
I don't like this either, but we need to behave.
Just another quick question, folks. Will there be any courier service between the 3 counties?
Thank you, Kim. Chris Hamlet.
Hello, my name is Chris Hamlet. I live here in Silva. Is the county accounting department prepared to take on the additional load that was previously handled by Lynn Cody? This includes almost daily intake of fees and overdue charges on books, as well as collecting any money for people who rent out space in the old courthouse, as well as paying the events that take place at the library. He was working way over 40 hours, and so is our accounting department prepared to take on that extra load? Or will they, as part of one of the additional costs, it will be having the county have to handle more people, having to hire more people for their accounting department. And in rebuttal to Chief Blaine, that large account, he said, that was multiple accounts that were for emergency, basically emergency accounts. If something happened at the library, like if something happened to the roof, that's where that money's there. That's for emergency funds. Your own budget has funds like that for emergency allocation. He also said that the Fontana Regional was the one who set the salaries for all of the library staff. That is incorrect. Each county sets the salary for their staff through the money that you allocate as part of your allotment to the Fontana Regional. Our Jackson County librarians are not paid the same as the Macon County librarians or is the same as the Swain County librarians. Each of their salary is based off of what that county contributes to the Fontana Regional. Thank you.
So, listening to everybody tonight sounds like there's a lot of work. And Lynn Cody was a consummate gentleman. He worked hard. He knew what he was doing. He worked overtime. And yet, he was hounded to death with specifics on a budget to the point where a couple of the newer FRL board members were worrying about $24 paid for dues to belong to an association. That's not what a board member is supposed to be worrying about. What I'm worrying about is I've been here a bunch. I've seen these fine people. I've communicated with them. They work hard. How much more are you willing to ask them to do? How much more are you willing to ask the county employees to do? Thank you.
Kate Baker. Kate Baker.
Hello. I'm here to address two ongoing failures of governance that threaten the fiscal, legal, and environmental health of Jackson County. First, the library. You voted to withdraw from the FRL system without a public plan or budget, despite projected costs of at least an additional $500,000 every year. The boards of Webster, Forest Hills, and Silva all formally oppose your decision. Please hold a vote to reverse this choice. My second concern is the gas station currently under construction at the old Jack the Dipper location. The approval of a 25,000-gallon gasoline tank in a floodplain, less than 150 feet from a protected trout stream, shows a breakdown in the systems meant to protect public safety, clean water, and local economy. Thousands of community members oppose this build. Please work with the county attorney to buy the property using eminent domain under state law. This would let the county take control of the site for a clear public reason, protecting our river and the economy that depends on it. Buying the land now costs far less than dealing with a fuel spill or tourism decline later. I'm asking you to start the process of updating the county's zoning rules so this kind of high-risk development can't happen again without public review and environmental safeguards. These matters both speak to the board's competence, fiscal responsibility, and respect for the law. Please begin the work of restoring this board's credibility and our community's trust in you. Thank you.
have public comment? Okay. What's your,
I'm Andrew Starostecki,
can you spell your last name?
Starostecki.
Perfect, thank you.
A little bit of microeconomics. What's it going to cost to migrate the whole computer system? If you expect the current regional library IT staff to handle it, we have a problem. And that is because that IT staff are not Jackson County employees. So are we going to have to rely on their goodwill to do it for us for free? Have we budgeted for that? Have we given that serious thought? Thanks.
Moving on to new business, first up tonight is Tourism Development Authority Director Nick Breedlove. Mr. Breedlove.
Good evening, Commissioners. Previously, you received copies of the packets for two projects that our board forwarded along to you. One of them is at the former Drexel site over towards Whittier, and that is referred to as Project Rise in your packets. And we received an application for tourism capital project funds from the Jackson County Economic Development Department. And we reviewed that application at our last board meeting, and we are in concurrence that we believe this is a good fit for tourism dollars. It's a 28-acre tourism complex that will have two facilities, a 24,000 square foot event venue and a 48,000 square foot open air pavilion. And we can host regional festivals, rail-themed excursions, educational programmings, and cultural events at that site. As Mr. King mentioned, construction's already underway, and the project is anticipated to bring about 33,000 room nights to Jackson County. 40 seasonal jobs, and 80% of that budget will be spent locally. So the request from the Economic Development Department is for $500,000 in tourism capital project funds. And as part of our agreement with Jackson County, our legislation that was done in 2012 and then revised last fall, our board approves these, but then forwards them on to your board for final approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions on that project.
Questions from Mr. Breedlove about Project Rise?
Okay. The second project in front of you is called the Dillsboro Link. For those of you familiar with Dillsboro, at the Monteith Farmstead, there's the Appalachian Women's Museum and a lot of parking, and that's disconnected from the town itself. So recently, an opportunity came available to purchase the 2.06 acre parcel at 66 Dill Street. And that project would link downtown Dillsboro through a corridor under that new bridge the DOT constructed to Monteith Park. So with that parcel, we'd be connecting parking to downtown, getting visitors into the shops and spending money. So the request was from the town of Dillsboro for those funds, and that amount that they've requested is $250,000. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions about the Dillsboro link from Mr. Breedlove?
No, I just like to say both of these are very exciting projects. Looking forward to seeing them both complete.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to approve
both projects.
Both projects.
Is there a second? Second. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Jennings?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hooper?
Yes.
Chairman Letson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Breedlove. Moving on now to our tax settlement report for May through June, and Ms. Benson.
So this is the settlement report for the 2024 taxes that we just closed out. The general taxes for the year, there were charges and credits of $46,402,264.22. Of that, there were uncollected taxes of $375,958.77, which gave us a rate of 99.19%. The Delinquent taxes, charges, and credits were $1,118,028.88, with $490,624.93 uncollected. The solid waste fees were $3,055,686.51, with $73,728.03 uncollected, and the delinquent solid waste fees were $153,083.18, with $81,920.68 uncollected. Any questions?
Questions for Ms. Henson?
Thank you.
Motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Moving on now to our NCACC annual conference and our voting delegate.
Brought this before you last month, and it's on the 23rd of August, and they are looking for a delegate from the board to be the voting delegate at the association. A lot of the times they go through the process of electing staff, or not staff, but like the president, vice president, things like that. But they also look at legislative priorities at that point. So it's a very big honor to be there and represent. So.
I know that we had a discussion, I spoke with Commissioner Hooper, and she has agreed to go, so I would like to nominate Ms. Hooper to go as our voting delegate this year.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. All right, with, any questions from the press tonight? With no need to go into closed session, we'll make a quick adjournment, or we'll go ahead and close this session. Is there a motion to adjourn? And a second? All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? We are adjourned. Take a quick couple minutes.
Sure.
tonight is Jamie Davis. Take him forward.
All right, Commissioners, thank you for having me. You see here in front of you is the old building. We are well underway to getting the beams replaced, and I want to thank you all for that. It's going to look beautiful and be much more structurally sound than what we had to work with there before. A couple of notes, we just are the one-stop resource center dedicated to providing services and support the aging population of Jackson County, and our mission statement is very simple. We aim for the highest quality of life for seniors in Jackson County. This is stuff you guys pretty much know. Building opened in 2009, but other than just a Silva location, we have the Cashier Senior Center. We have a wood shop located at the Public Works Building. And then we also have a wood lot over going towards Franklin, and Matt does a great job keeping that full for giving firewood out. We have over 600 volunteers each and every year. Our board, which Commissioner Smith is on, is called the Council on Aging, and they do all the approvals and advisory. And this goes without saying, it is a wonderful team effort. It's basically, and I tell everyone this in every speech that I give, you guys don't have to give what you do. And we are very appreciative of that. And the seniors of Jackson County are very appreciative of that. We have a wonderful place, wonderful programs, and it's because of you guys, and we do know that. We have volunteers, other county departments, basically anything that you ever need, you ask anyone in this county, and they'll take care of it, any department that we have. So, and this is for our fiscal year last. Lots of programs that we have. We have an adult day program. We do Animals, where we deliver food along with our to folks who are shut in who have animals that can't get out. Caring Hands, Cashier Senior Center, Consumer Direct program, which is where we help folks find aid services to come in and take care of them. Various health and wellness programs, maintain a list of in-home caregivers. We have the Senior Center for Jackson County. We also provide liquid supplementation to folks who aren't getting enough caloric intake basically from their food. They can come with us with a valid prescription and get that. We have Meals on Wheels. We do an options counseling to give folks kind of an idea of what's going on, how things are going to look later in life, things they can do to help ease that transition along. Project Care, Project Fire, where we go out and do minor home improvements such as ramps. Mainly it's stuff to get people in and out of their homes to make mobility easier, where you can get in and out of your shower. Project Fire, that's where we deliver firewood to the seniors of Jackson County. Project Lifesaver, that's a program with the Sheriff's Department where people at risk of wandering will get either an ankle bracelet or a wrist bracelet that has a locator tracker in it. If they go missing, we can find the person with the Sheriff's Department's help. We've not had anybody missing, but we've found lots of bracelets in the trash cans. That seems to be the number one thing. They cut them off and we find those in the trash. We have a lending closet where we lend out medical equipment with the proper prescription from a physician. We give out about 900 Christmas boxes every year. We have the senior games, and some of these are going to be highlighted in just a few minutes. We have the SHIP program, which is amazing. There's a great talk about them coming up. We have the fan program and then the senior cafe. A couple things that didn't mention here is we have also given away over 30 laptops and taught seniors how to use those. There's a program that myself and the department or the area agency on aging developed, and we're doing that again. We're also working with Western Carolina University, and hopefully we're taking that in high school to get what we're going to call seniors helping seniors. We're going to get people to come in and show our aging population how to use their devices. That's kind of a tough thing for some of them, so we're trying to get some more help in that domain.
Didn't your cafeteria also provide some meals during LE?
Absolutely, yes, sir. And still, we still, one of the beautiful things that we give out chef staple meals to all of our Meals on Wheels people who need it.
Make sure everybody knew that.
Absolutely, thank you. Project Care, 45 built last year, almost one a week. Um, 9 ramps in addition to a deck repair that we helped ensure that the person's deck was stable enough to have a ramp put on it. 5 sets of stairs, 10 handrails, 24 grab bars that's in a shower, 2 shower runs. We had 164 volunteers help with these, and that's mixed groups of churches, educational. WCU sent us a lot of students to help out with that. 549 hours during this, and 22 fans were donated through Duke Energy under Project CARE. Project Fire, which is providing that firewood I spoke of earlier, volunteered one delivery day, October through March each month. 270 loads of firewood delivered to seniors. The wood is 100% donated. Somebody will have a tree come down, they'll call, hey, gosh, I've got this oak tree blocked in the driveway. Can you guys come get it? And so as long as it's on the ground and not dangerous, they take care of that. 290 volunteers cut, split, and helped deliver the firewood, and there was 870 hours involved with that. During the senior center, you're seeing here is activities and trips. 962 people participated in classes and events. We had 1,363 guests. In other words, they wanted their family to come see the senior center, so they brought them as well. 600 participants in our health and wellness class, plus 200 guests for that. We had 585 people served by AARP tax aid, and that's anybody. That's not just aging, that's anybody that wants AARP to do their taxes. 585 folks came in, and we provided tax assistance for them. We also hold our classes. Laura does Tai Chi and various other classes online, so we can do that as well. We are a senior center of excellence, and we are maintaining that status. Senior Games. Not only is it a partner with the Park and Rec Department, it's also with Kuala Boundary as well. We do some work with them with their senior games. 99 different activities. 105 people were up. We set a goal for 100. We made 105. People registered and participated. We now found out it's 30 plus people going to Raleigh for the state games. So we should bring home several gold medals we did last year. So we're hoping to bring home some state gold medals. On the support services, and you can see there a picture of the tracking device I was talking about. Provided 6,606 contacts. 6,606 people called that we were able to log and say, hey, they called and we provided information to them. People came in for 35 options counseling sessions where they found out what they needed to do to help their aging loved one and linked them up with 556 services. The in-home list of aids was delivered to 136 new families last year, maintaining 177 lists previously, and we trained 45 people to hire off of that list. So, Project Life Over with the bracelets. We now have 9 bracelets out of the 18 that we have on folks dealing with severe dementia and wandering issues. So we are keeping those folks safe. And the lending closet went out 23 different loans. We have 2 congregate nutritional sites, being Cashers and the senior center here in Jackson County. We all do monthly themed events. There we are for our, that was the batch that we had celebrating all of our volunteers. We served a total of 15,875 meals to 227 seniors. And we also distributed basically 4,200 meals worth of Ensure Plus to those who are nutritionally compromised. Meals on Wheels keeps the roads hopping. They provided almost 27,000 meals to homebound seniors, served 214 people on a constant basis, have 138 volunteers that served 5,775 hours and drove 111,558 miles. And then we do a program in March where we do March for Meals, where we basically highlight people who volunteer to do this for us. The Anna Meals program distributed right at 1,000 pounds of food pets for our Meals on Wheels clients. And then we also, in 2 separate trips, delivered 122 boxes of fresh produce that we bought through Darnell Farms, trying to partner with our neighbors. On the chip, um, the main thing here is 504 people in Jackson County took advantage of this, and we saved them $2.1 million on either their insurance premiums or their copays that they would be having to pay for their medications. So that's a lot of money. That goes directly back into the pockets of people in Jackson County. We only had one volunteer for that. She worked about 15 hours. The adult day program provided respite for 37 families. This is where folks with cognitive decline can come in and stay during the day, where they're watched, monitored, helped with activities, and have basically 2 meals where they're ensuring that they're getting nutrition. And we're partnering with Western Carolina and SCC to get student experience working with folks with dementia. It really helps their students in the speech and language pathology department. They can help work with our folks as well. We have 17 regular volunteers, 1,352 hours, almost 3,500 meals provided for those folks. Last year, we delivered 920 Christmas boxes during the month of December. They basically include canned food, toiletries, and other household items and goods. 55 people volunteered with that for 234 hours. Cashier Senior Center served almost 1,500 meals, did 105 activities with 132 seniors. They do the same thing we do: activities, trips, clubs, classes. They also have their own volunteer appreciation event, and they are a great satellite office for us. They really help the community. Just real quick, hands on Jackson County, just each October, and we'll be helping with that this year. Just a day of caring for the folks in Jackson County. We'll go out and help fix houses, rake leaves, anything that we can do to help out. Some of our special events, we we have events for caregivers. We're working with Western to do another one of those soon. We help about 900 people with our mobile and free pharmacy. We always do our elder abuse walk. This year, this area had 900 people roughly walking together in solidarity to ensure that elders are being noticed and they're not being abused, and that people are out there looking for that. We do the monthly birthday party. We do 90s birthday parties. Yeah, it goes on and on and on. Just more the Medicare 101. That's where people who are 65 or turning 65 want to know about Medicare. We put out some great information so you'll know, so you can save about $2.1 million next year. And then this is the one that gets me the most. We had 714 volunteers who served right at 10,000 hours, and based on the same value last year's independent sector had, which it may have actually gone up. I didn't get a chance to look, but the citizens of Jackson County provided us with $334,430 worth of just their love and their kindness, and that's, you can't put a price tag on it, but if you can, that's a whole lot. That's 714 people who care about the seniors of Jackson County. So that's pretty much it. We had a great year. We're looking for a great year this year as well. So, anything else? Any questions?
Good job on that.
Yeah.
Fine job.
Thank you, guys.
Facility, and congratulations.
It, like I said, I appreciate everything. It's a wonderful place. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Up next, we're going to kind of review our board appointment process and turn it back over to Mr. King. We had tabled this at an earlier date too.
I just kind of want to circle back around and talk about kind of the process and procedure. We're going to be going out for putting in the paper and soliciting volunteers for board positions that's from basically December through June. We're going to be soliciting for them now. And then that way we'll kind of get on a cycle where we're just doing it twice a year in June and December. So this next one, we wanted to start publicizing in September for all of the different boards. And with that, a lot of people have asked me questions, and I don't have the correct answer, the right answer. This is kind of what I'm going to have some dialogue about. Certain boards have solicited members based on, the criteria of specific boards. And I'll use TDA as an example. They've looked at, or they've asked people, in that realm if they would be willing to serve. And I think last year we had I think some growing pains as far as how y'all were trying to go through the appointment process, and we just want to get kind of a clear guideline. We can still solicit. I mean, if people want to volunteer, it's still a volunteer, boards. But I just kind of want to get some kind of guidelines from y'all as far as what's expected. Do we still want to have the individual boards and those folks solicit people and then still go through the process with, application. And then in doing so, do we want applications that maybe differentiate on the different types of board? If you want this board to be, all interviewed, you know, or is it going to be? That's kind of the direction where we're trying to figure out. And I think that we kind of left it open. And so those are some of the questions we have as staff looking forward. You know, is this going to be? There's going to be a lot of people, a lot of vacant positions between now and next June that we want to fill in December, and kind of it'll be before they would take office. So if you, for instance, if you wanted a board that's coming up in March, you'd still appoint by December, but you'd have put a March beginning date. And so just to kind of get us on a schedule without having to go back and redo any of the bylaws of each individual board that's I guess created. So any future board, of course, was going to either be December or June, but we're not going to go back and kind of tweak that. But to get us on that cycle, there's going to be a lot of boards this coming December for the December time frame, and like I said, we want to go ahead and get ahead of it a little bit. So
The way I kind of looked at it were which ones are going to be probably better suited for staff to make recommendations, because take planning for instance. US 441's Gateway District has completely separate rules compared to Cashers. Cashers has completely separate rules compared to Cullowhee, and there are certain areas that you have to remain either a homeowner or a business owner, and I think that if we just get somebody from those areas, it's a win, because as people have served, the pool has shrunk. So I do think that that's an important part is the local input of those individual boards and how they find those people it's kind of directed at those planning councils and the planning department. Same for business industry advisory committee, TDA, health board. All of these are heavily ruled by who can serve and from what field. So I do think that we could pull those out and say, okay, staff should be directing this with
Submit the recommendation.
with their recommendation, we would make those approvals. Others like Transit Advisory Board, I don't think we can set rules in place for all of them. I mean, it's just going to become more cumbersome, and we're going to continue to pigeonhole ourselves in finding someone to fill that board. What's the one that planning had to take over? I wish Mike was here. There was one board that met once a year, and we didn't have enough people on it, so we kind of de facto made the planning board that board as well, just because very rarely did they need to meet, but they had to fill 12 seats, and I think it's been reduced since then. But anyway, there's certain boards out there like that just aren't even on this scope, that have been kind of absorbed
But I think even with them making recommendations is fine, but I still think that we need to look through them as far as,
Right. Are we gonna do an interview process, or, I mean, that's kind of where we're at. Is it gonna be on December 1st, we bring in 50 people for those board votes, or interview, or are we just going to have a closed session discussion and then, or a open session discussion about them, and how they're, where we're gonna place them? I guess that's my question.
I don't really see a problem with interviewing them. I mean, you can make it sound like it's a lot of people, but I think that's important to put the right people on the right boards.
Right. Just trying to figure out
Yeah.
what the will of the board's gonna be.
Well, I think that some of these boards, they submit recommendations to us. Sometimes just one, and multiple people has applied, and that's when we get involved, you know. That's when those people reach out to us and complain that the commissioners didn't hear their, you know,
Well, and
their
some
application.
of them complain because you're there and you are a commissioner, and you're not allowed to have any input.
But
And that one would be the TDA.
But these,
aside from TDA, like looking at the airport authority, let's say 5 people wanted to be on the airport authority. It's not common, but it could happen.
Right.
So then are we going to interview all 5 of those people and then pick the one open seat? I guess that's my question. But if there's only one applicant and only one person wants to sit on that, are we still going to hold the process up? Or are we just going to, I mean, I think that our due diligence is in our spare time when we receive these applications, to call them and do the vetting process prior to, you know, pulling everybody in. But I could be completely off base.
If there's only one person wanting to do it, then there's no
debate. Right.
I mean, yeah, they're putting their name forward to serve, so why would we say, no, you can't
Right.
be on the
I mean,
board?
why would we hinder a volunteer?
I think, you know, if there's 2 or 3
That warrants that conversation.
yeah.
Okay.
But these other boards, I think that they should submit like 1 or 2, possibly 2 recommendations to us, and then we make the motion of.
Right.
I mean, this is 28 boards, just in this.
Number 7, are we required to have that in law, or?
I think that's a good board. I mean, I know it sounds.
I know it is.
That's a very good board.
It is, but there's like a 2-week course that anybody that wants to be on here has to go to. It's
Right.
certified, and who wants to take 2 weeks off work and pay for it for it.
Well, some people do that are like retired.
But we don't get either.
I've had 2 people ask me about it.
I did too,
Yeah.
until they found out that they had to go to Raleigh to take
Yeah.
classes.
But that's what I was saying in another meeting, that something like that is that intense a training, we need to pay for. And maybe even pay them not only their travel time and hotel and meals, but maybe some money for going and spending their time. Because that's a really important board.
It is. I don't
You
have an
know.
objection to do that.
And you don't think about it until you're there, or you got family members that are there, you know?
I agree 100%.
Right
I
now,
think you don't do that, and that's followed.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
I think if somebody's willing to do it, we ought to subsidize them.
I think I brought that up to you before.
And that one is required. I think it used to be called Home and Community Care
We
Board.
should be paying for people to go get the training to serve on it. That's just-
And like I said before, they need to have access to all these facilities that do provide long-term care, to where they could go in at any hour and they're unannounced. Well, that's very important too.
Yeah, that's what we do.
When you get behind closed doors, you're behind closed doors.
Where would funding for that type of thing come from, Darlene?
It would come from contingency for fund balance.
How much is the training?
I don't know, but you got a week or, is it a week or 2 weeks, Angie? That's what I was thinking you had told me.
Is it online or have to go in
No,
person?
you have to go to Raleigh in person.
So there's 6 vacant seats on that right now.
Because when they find out they gotta go 2
Yeah.
weeks, take 2 weeks off their job, and pay for their training,
Yeah.
pay for a hotel, they like, no, it ain't worth that. I mean, would you?
No.
I mean, I have 2 people that would do it, but
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they ought to be, not just maybe pay them for going, not just pay their way, but pay them for going and attending now.
sure how that would help. Not opposed.
You know, for that specific one, we can try to develop some sort of policy that we can bring back to you and see. And we'll pick out other boards that are kind of more intensive that, you know, if they meet more than one time a month, it's, you know.
And those people not only do they need to meet that qualification, I think they probably need to come from a medical background or nursing or services like that in an aging facility.
Okay. And as far as the interview process, if we can just set some sort of criteria, if we get more than 3 per seat, then you want to automatically do an interview process.
I think that's probably the best
I agree.
method, but you know, we also need to also put in there that if we have one person, we don't need to hold it up,
right,
waiting for more candidates. It felt like we had a lot stacking up just because we were waiting on something, and you know, it's in their due diligence.
Sometimes
it's in
people
their,
don't find out about board positions until later anyway.
right, and that's kind of what the process of this is supposed to help. Is not only are we letting people know via websites and but on the paper as well, so everybody can see.
I know we have a long list of different boards on the website, but do we publicize when a position is coming open on our Jackson County NC?
Don't know that answer. I don't know that answer to that question.
We should. If we're not getting candidates, we should do that. We should also post it in the paper, maybe
Well, with us doing it twice a year, you can do them on the front page. These.
Yeah, that's kind of how we wanted to start it. You know, if we can start it in September, it gives you 2 months, and then you can start, if you want to do interview process the month of November,
Well, I think
you can have a special.
all of them need to be listed, and if it's TDA, if they're the ones that's going to sort of go through the initial process of interviewing and application, contact TDA or contact. That way, they know where they need to go. They know who to, or send the application to Angie. Whatever they need to do. That way, it's easy.
All the confusion of how people get on boards.
Okay. We've had a lot of questions. The reason I keep going back to the interview thing, we've had a lot of questions about, you know, some people are hesitant, you know, if it's just a one time every 6 months meeting, that you're going to have to go through an interview process when they're trying to volunteer their time. Right. And so that's kind of just trying to isolate maybe the type of board, you know, if it's a lot more financial, you know, as far as their decision making, that may be more intensive. You may want to do that. Or if it's a specific, like the community advisory for long-term care, you know, the time it takes, you know, they need to understand that it's a commitment, you know, but it's also going to be hard to find them. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword.
Are these terms on these, are they every 4 years? Or are they?
It just depends on the board.
They're different.
And can we not just make them up for? Or is there guidelines that?
It depends on how each one of them were formed, and that's kind of what we're working through. There's some of them that, if it was created by the board, we probably could make a blanket. That's also a legal question for John, but you could probably make a blanket. But there's certain types that's done by statute which you cannot change, and so
Right.
those would have to be, you know,
I'd say that's like the health board and.
Yeah.
things like that. But the other ones, we could just make it 4 years, have to come in, interview process, and they're on the board for 4 years.
Right.
Simple. Just get it done. The thing we don't want to do is make the process too hard to where people do not want to serve, to volunteer. So
Right.
that's where we got to be very, very careful, because we have vacant seats as right now.
Yeah, that expired in 2023, 2024.
Yeah.
Still can't find people to fill them. So.
Okay. Well, we'll try to come up with a policy for the payment.
But they don't have no problem finding people for those, and I didn't even know this till I got in here, for those boards that are paid, that pay you. There's not a problem for that. Yeah.
I think that's it. So these are, if they paid, I'd be on every one of them.
Probably would, Todd. That's a true statement.
All right, so we'll start publicizing in September. We'll try to come up with a policy on the labor intensive, like the long-term care folks. Try to get some more recruitment.
Incentivize someone to.
Yeah, because I mean,
They're
that's a
definitely
lot of time they go out to, nursing homes and things like that they're spending going out to, look things over and inspect. And so,
Right.
So I don't know if we can reimburse them for that time, but.
Well,
we'll come up
on
with
that
something.
board right there, if they go into some of these nursing homes to see some things, they should want to use their time for that.
They should, yes, but, a lot of these have full-time jobs as
That's
nurses in the
understandable.
hospital or wherever.
I can see paying, for the class and maybe for hotel or whatever, their travel expense. But once they get on the board, I think that should be the volunteer position.
Right.
Because
I'm fine with that too.
they should want to do this for the elderly. And whoever's in long-term care.
Okay, so we're going to set up interviews in November. We're going to publicize for 2 months. Applications will be due November 1st. We'll set up an interview if needed.
Right.
And then that'll put them in by December 1st. But if it's a board that's coming up in March, they'll wait for 4 months. You'll approve them in December, and then they'll take effect in March. Is that all right with everybody?
Sounds great.
Based on the board's, the individual board's timeline, I guess.
Correct. Until we can get, some other verbiage, if we can straighten it, if we can align the different boards to a December or a June, then we'll do so. But if not, we'll just have to continue this way.
Well, I think too that it's probably better if we name them ahead of time, because it seems like we find out now when someone has rolled off a board and then it's time to appoint. So that seat sits vacant for, until somebody finds out about it or we're able to locate a person to fill that seat.
If we're going to vote in June and December, we should probably focus moving those boards to like February
In September.
Yeah.
So that they'll get appointed and voted on and approved a couple of months before they have to start serving.
Okay.
So what happens on boards that there's somebody appointed for, but they're supposed to be reappointed by a certain day and nothing ever happened?
They serve until.
Yeah.
They just stay on there until.
Some of these people don't want to serve again, but they're still serving until somebody else replaces.
And some people just stop going.
And we will alert the boards to that fact that if somebody's seat's coming up in March and you're going to appoint somebody in November, then that reappointment, if they won't be reappointed, they'll have to apply as well for the seat. So.
I think we can streamline this thing.
slow down. Just still got to plow.
Well, and it's to everyone's thing, more transparent, when boards are gonna be appointed, when people are allowed to apply, and when we're gonna make those decisions.
So when we vote on this, are we gonna have is that gonna be I know this is looking to the future a little bit, but is that gonna be a special session, or are we gonna do that in a
We
regular
do it in a
meeting?
regular meeting.
Okay,
A working session,
Yeah.
probably.
that's
Well,
probably.
not a work session,
We
it would
always
be,
voted before in a working session.
it would be the meeting after the work session,
Then we vote on.
that we vote on them.
Third-
But we
right.
would do the interviews and discussion
Right.
during the
Work session.
Beautiful. That's great.
Any other business this evening? If not, I'll seek a motion for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor?
Uh,
None opposed?